See if you agree with this. There's almost nothing more fun than being a part of a championship team, a high-performing team, a team that's setting records, a team where everyone's winning. Winning is super fun. A team, a high-performing team that's creating positive impact in the results that matter. And yes, one that's not only creating great results for others, but where everybody is highly compensated. We're making a bunch of money while we're creating great results. That is super fun. And yes, conversely, there's almost nothing worse than being a part of a team that is losing and not hitting the goals, not hitting the marks. Worse yet, maybe not having a team that you need. And that's exactly what I heard from one of my clients this last week, where they said, John, I need a high-performing team and I need it fast. How can I build a high-performing team and do it fast? And I shared with her 3 very important steps that she can take to create that result, because you can create that result. I once took a team that had failed 3 different times, a company that had gone bankrupt 3 different times, and we very quickly turned it around, created a high-performing team, and set amazing records in the industry that we were in. And it was using these 3 same steps. So the first one comes from a book that was written many years ago. Don Clifton wrote a great book called Soar with Your Strengths. Real simple. The idea is that we have strengths, we have weaknesses. What most people do is they kind of ride on their strengths and then they focus on getting better at their weaknesses. And he says that's all backwards. Here's the deal. When you're already talented at something, when you're good at it, you can focus on that and become great. You can become world class at something that you're naturally good at. Rather than just you've got something you're below average in, you work hard and you become what? Average. And he used reading as an example. He took people that were poor, below average readers, 50 to 100 words a minute, put them through a speed reading course. They could get up to 150, maybe 200 words a minute, a 100-word improvement. But they're still slightly below average. Someone that was already reading at 300 words a minute, put them through a speed reading course. They went up to 700 to 1,000 words a minute. Focus on what you're already naturally good at and get great at that. So in order to do that, in building a high-performing team, what you need to know is, what are the skill sets that you need? What are the complementary skill sets you need on your team? So my advice to her was, build a complementary team where each person on there has skills that complement the others. And that is absolutely one of the steps on the way to creating a high-performing team and doing it fast. Secondly, define what high performance means. What would it truly look like for you to set records? You know, in this particular industry that I was in the sales industry, we built this team, and I began to tell them, what if we were the greatest show on earth? What if we were the greatest show on earth? How would we walk? How would we talk? How would we think? How would we feel? Think about what you do. What would it look like to be the greatest in the world at what you do? What if your team was performing in a way where they were setting records that had never been set? And so we defined what that meant. A very specific outcome or a result. Define high performance. That's the second step. And then the third step comes from this same story about the greatest show on earth. Create a spirit around what would happen for you as a team when you create that result. Up the communication in the team, everyone on the same page, and put on a mascot or a moniker or a spirit. Sports teams do this. They all have mascots. They've got cheerleading squads to help them perform at that high level. So for us in the company that I was leading, we'd called ourselves the greatest show on earth. And everyone felt that way, and we all lived into what it would mean. I had a client a couple of years ago that chose a mascot for her team where they became the juggernauts. They talked about what it meant to be a juggernaut. They had all kinds of characteristics of what it would, of the way juggernauts behave, the way they think, the way they act, the way they perform. And so all day, every day, they were living into being the juggernauts, and they set records in their industry. So those 3 simple things, it's not complicated. Hire complementary skill sets so that you can diversify greatness. set a standard. What does it look like to be the greatest at what you do? And then infuse some spirit, a team mascot or a moniker or a theme of what it would look like so that you can celebrate that and create great communication. You do those things, you too can build a high-performing team, and you can do it fast. If you found this information helpful, do me a favor, share it with someone that you care about. Click that like button, click the bell and subscribe so that you're around for future videos when we can be together. And until we are, remember always to think bravely and act boldly.